All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome once again, everybody, to this week's edition of PDSVISION Webinar Wednesday. This week, I'm going to be talking about PTC license management. Specifically, we're going to be looking at PTC's website and the various tools that we have available on that site to manage licenses for Creo and other PTC software. So as I mentioned, our objective here is to review and demonstrate the licensing tools available on ptc.com. Licensing is something that a lot of people don't really understand or don't know exactly how to do themselves. This is something that a lot of people come to us for help on licensing, even people that have been working with this software for 20, 30 years, because it is a little bit complex in how it works. That being said, it is something that you often have to worry about every year or two when your licenses renew or when you get new software. So it's something that is very relevant to pretty much everybody that uses PTC software. So hopefully this webinar is going to shed some light on how this actually works, and hopefully some of you can use these tools to get started managing licenses yourself. So first I'm going to do an introduction to myself and PDSVISION. I'm then going to go through the various tools just very briefly in the slideshow, the various tools available on ptc.com. And then pretty quickly I'm going to jump to my web browser, and I'm going to actually click through these various tools and show you how it looks, talk about how you can get connected. I have a question. Will the webinar be available to view after this presentation is over? That's a very good question. The answer is yes. This webinar will be going on YouTube within likely a day or two. You can find all of our past webinars on YouTube, and I will put that on my screen, that exact YouTube channel name, where you can find this. I'll do that at the end. I do just want to mention, if you do have questions, if you haven't found it already, there is a question and answer section in GoToWebinar. So you can feel free to type any questions you have. If I see them, then I may get to them kind of as I go. Otherwise, I will be pulling that up at the end, and we can do a question and answer for any questions. Okay, so first of all, my name is Sevi. I've been at PDSVISION for 4 years. I'm from a mechanical engineering background. I specialize here in training, Creo design, and simulation. And I have about 10 years CAD experience with Creo, SolidWorks, and a little bit of AutoCAD. PDSVISION is a leader in the PTC partner reseller sphere. We are a global company with locations in all the places you see on the map. What we do includes support consulting for Creo. We do hosting for Windchill and for licenses. We offer training for Creo and other PTC software, and implementation services as well. A little bit of a timeline. I do like to go through this briefly because we were Boundary Systems until the first of this year, and now we're PDSVISION. So just to kind of go through our history a little bit, we started in 2006. Separately, PDSVISION was founded in Sweden in 2008. In 2014, we expanded to South Africa. And then all the way in 2018, we were acquired by PDSVISION in Europe. So we have been a part of PDSVISION since 2018, but we didn't actually switch our name until the first of this year. But we are still completely run as kind of our own operation in the United States. Nothing has changed since the first of the year, besides our name. Additionally, besides PTC products, we do support some other software that we find fills some other niches. Specifically, we work with Keyshot, which is a really cool, powerful rendering software. We work with Etrage, Moldex 3D, and others. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about with our company is just this digital thread initiative that we have going on. Essentially, we are making webinars every month, one webinar a month specific to this digital thread that's going to focus on how different areas of your company can be better integrated through the use of PTC products. So you can see the inner ring there, CAD management. That's stuff that a lot of people are already doing that's kind of central to CAD itself. And then as you go outward, these are ways that you can manage this data and incorporate it with other parts of your company to make your workflows better. So we're doing webinars, one a month, I think, at the beginning of every month relating to this digital thread. If you're not checking them out, I would recommend it. They're really good. At least I think so. All right. So moving on to the PTC.com licensing tools. As I said, I'm not going to talk very long about this just as a slide. I'm going to jump pretty quickly into the web browser. But everything we're going to be talking about today is found on support.ptc.com. So that's where we are going to start. And there are going to be some steps that you have to go through before you're able to do all the things that I'm going to show. And those steps are creating an account and becoming an admin. I am going to talk about how to do that. So I will show you in just a second. But those are going to be your first steps. From there, we're going to look at how to access 3 specific licensing tools today available on ptc.com. And as a unit, these 3 tools are going to let you look at what licenses your company has available, see where they currently are, find a whole bunch of information about them, like when they expire. And then we're going to be able to actually assign these licenses to different computers. We're able to move them from one computer to another, or if they're just new licenses, we're able to assign them to either a computer or a licensed server. And we're able to see all this information on this support.ptc.com. So quite a lot we can do there. Okay, so this is what you're going to see if you just type support.ptc.com into your web browser here. And of course, if you don't have any saved info, this is going to be blank. But if you do not already have an account, then you're going to start with this new PTC customers and partners. You are likely a customer. We are a PTC partner as a company, PDSVISION. So if I was creating an account, I would click the second link. Some of you might be, in education, so that's an option as well. If you're not part of a company that is using PTC products, you'd pick that third option. So I'm going to go ahead and click create a customer account. Most of this stuff is going to be pretty basic, just information about yourself that you have to enter in. At the bottom, we will notice that you do need some specific information. It says you must complete this section to create a customer account to gain access to all supports entitled areas of ptc.com. Essentially, you don't actually have to enter this info if you don't have it on hand, but your account will only be a basic account. if you do not have this info at hand. And as a result, with your basic account, you're not going to be able to access all of these support areas that we're going to be showing today. So the steps that you're going to want to go through are going to be fill out this info, and you're going to want to get this info if you can. If you're not able to do that right away, you can create an account and then put in this info later. So this info specifically, we have customer number and one of the following pieces of info: site number, sales order number, service contract number. If you don't have this info, then you can get it a couple places. If you get your licenses through us, if we are your PTC reseller, then you can email me or email us, open a ticket with us, and we're able to get you this info. Otherwise, you can likely contact whoever at your company actually bought these licenses. When they purchased the license, they should have gotten an email that has this info in it. But otherwise, of course, you can reach out to us and we can get that for you as well. So once you do that, you're going to be able to create an account. You will then have a partner account, and you're going to be able to access this website. All right. Now there is an additional step. If we go into our account here, if I go to upgrade my web account or manage my web account, first of all, we can see that this is how we would add that info after the fact. So if we were still in a basic account, we would go into this account management. We'd enter that info we didn't have previously. Now, if I go to this eSupport settings, we will see that on the right here, it has the various account privileges that I have. When you create a new account, even if you enter that other info to create a customer account, you're not going to be specifically a license admin. You're not going to be able to actually manage the licenses of your company. So what you have to do is contact your online supervisor. You can see who are for our company. You can also reach out to PTC themselves to request access to become a license management admin. But essentially the takeaway here is after you do create that account, there is an additional step of becoming a license admin. And again, your online supervisors can grant you that access, or if you don't have access to them, you can reach out to PTC themselves, and they will help you with that. Now, additionally, besides getting access to these license management tools up here, we're going to look at a tool called the Business Summary, Business Asset Summary Web Tool. So you are going to want business summary privileges as well, if you can get it. Just to point out, this is separate. You need, separate privileges in order to access that tool. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the main page. So now I'm going to assume you have an account and you were able to get access to these various licensing tools we're about to talk about. So the first tool I'm going to look at is license reports. All of these tools can be found in this little grid in the top left up here. But if we scroll down, we can also find them down kind of below. We can see all of those same options from the grid are listed here. in their own various sections below as well. Additionally, on this website, just if you're not familiar with the website, if you just created your account, we do have the ability, if your company has access to this, but you have the ability of searching the knowledge base. If you ever are wondering why something is working the way it is in Creo, if something's not working properly, if you want to see if other people are having that issue, the knowledge base is actually very, very useful. I'd say it is actually more useful than putting that same thing into Google. You're more likely to get a good result through the knowledge base. So I would recommend checking that out if you have access to it. Additionally, you're able to open cases with PTC through this tool. So if you, again, have something that you need to reach out to them about, then you're able to do it through this website. So if I do go into this grid, we'll see that the support tab is highlighted first. We're not really dealing with support in this webinar. We're more so dealing with the license tools. So for our purposes, I'm going to click Manage and Monitor Software. And then we'll notice this licenses section over here. The tools I'm going to be looking at today are license management here, license reports, and business summary. So license reports is essentially what this is going to do is it's going to send you an Excel spreadsheet to your email. And that Excel spreadsheet is going to include the all the information about all of your company's licenses. So I'm going to go to license reports here. I'm going to get a report for the entire customer number. So for my whole company, submit requests, and they're going to send that to my email. Essentially, that's just going to be an Excel spreadsheet, as I said, and it has a whole bunch of information in it. It is not the most organized, which is why we're going to look at business summary. But it is going to contain all the information about your licenses. So that includes expiration, the type of license, your customer number, your sales order number tied to that license, the computer it's installed on, whether it's locked or floating, the version of the software, etc. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show business summary. The business summary tool is similar in what it lets you see. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the business summary. I know I'm going a bit fast there. I'll go back and talk about the specific clicks in a second. But I just want to pull up this table here. Essentially, this is a web tool. It lets you build your own tables. So these specific columns I actually set up myself. It lets me pick the information for these licenses that's important for me to see. And it's going to list each license that's available to your company here in this table. You can see that we have quite a few Creo licenses as a company. And they're all listed here. Now the information I decided to show here, we can see item description, what the license is for. It's a Creo basic rep package, quantity, release version. So this is good for up to Creo 9. We have service contract number, contract end date, so when the license expires. We have maintenance status. We have the host ID that it is installed to, so specific computer. And we're also able to set a host name. So I can name this computer Sevi's laptop or something like that to help me organize it a little bit better. We can see the sales order number tied to this license, whether it's locked or floating, etc. So this is essentially showing us the same info that the license report is. And then I can actually download this to Excel as well. This business summary tool just gives me a little bit more customization of which pieces of info I want to see. This table is very useful for me because it sees all of the info that that I need to see to be able to properly, manage these licenses for either my company or for a different company. Again, this business summary tool is you need a separate access to this tool. It is possible to have access to all the other licensing tools, but not this one, just because your online supervisor did not grant you access to this business summary specifically. Okay, so just walking you through that again. So on the very home page, this is our home page of our business summary. I can click products and licenses here. I'm then going to select the product, so Creo parametric. You can see we do have licenses for other stuff. You'll see that it changed the product group to Arbor Text again for no good reason, because the website isn't as good as it could be. So I'll change that back to Creo parametric and click go. We'll notice that this is actually the default view. So it's just showing us our licenses and the quantity. But what I'm able to do is you can see I created some custom views. And the custom view called test, the one I use, has all this other information. Shows the host ID that these are installed to, and all the other information I choose to display. If I do want to create my own views, I'm going to click Create Edit View. I'm able to drag the specific parameters that I want to show over to the right, or things that I don't want to show, I can move them to the left. Then I can make add a name to this view, save view as, and then click submit to save that as a new view. Okay, well, I was done showing business summary anyway. All right. I actually am going to go back there just because I want to show how to use this with the final license tool. So I'm just going to pull this back up for Creo parametric. With my own custom view here, we can see all of our licenses. So being able to view these licenses is good, but we have to be able to actually manage them. What that usually involves is either just retrieving a specific license or changing the actual host ID of a specific license. So reasons you would want to do this. The first and main reason is that your license just expired. So essentially, these licenses have a contract end date. So when January 1st, 2024 comes around, the current license files on all of our machines, so these licenses, they are going to stop working. Now at that point, we're going to come back to this website and hopefully our company renewed our licenses. So at that point, this contract end date is going to say maybe 2026. However, the actual license file itself does not automatically update. When you do pull a license file, that license file is not automatically going to update if your company renews their licenses. It's still going to expire on this date no matter what. So essentially what we have to do is we have to go to this website and we have to retrieve a new license that of course is not expired, and then install that to our PC. So that's very, very common that you're going to have to do that every couple of years, year or two. Your license is going to expire and you are going to have to get a new license. If you individually are not having to do that, your company is doing it for you behind the scenes and installing that new license to the license server so that you have access. Unless, of course, you have a perpetual license, but that's, I guess, kind of a thing of the past nowadays. They're trying to phase that out. So I guess take what I said with a grain of salt if you're on an old version and you're not, on a newer version and on subscription. There does exist perpetual licenses that are, locked to version 3 or something of Creo, that you wouldn't have to, renew every year. But for the vast majority, and especially going forward, PTC is trying to shift away from that. So for the majority of customers, I would say you do have licenses and they do expire. You do have to, come to this website and get a new one. So that's one situation that a lot of people find themselves in. The second situation is that they want to move a license from one computer to another. You have an engineer that stopped working for you all, and you want to use that license, put it onto a new computer. So those are, really the reasons why we're using any of these tools. Looks like I'm having some connection problems, potential connection problems. Some people saying they can't hear me. And that would also explain why my website is not. Looks like it sounds fine now. So hopefully it was just a momentary internet problem. I'll go ahead and give this a minute, minute or so, see if this loads. Yep, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the license management tool here. This is what actually lets us change our licenses. So in the first scenario, we would want to move a license from one computer to another. So conveniently, I left this business summary open, and I'm going to be able to use this info and just copy and paste over here into the license management tool. Now these first two boxes right here, we'll see ready to license your products, enter an order or contract number to get started. So if you have a license that you want to assign to a certain host ID, then you're able to just grab this service contract number or the sales order number and put it into that box. Additionally, it says if you'd like to retrieve existing licenses for one host ID or triad, enter it here. Now, in the second scenario, that I just wanted to basically retrieve a new license that was no longer expired. So if this date comes around, what I'm going to do is just copy and paste this host ID from the business summary tool into here, and it will send me that license file to my email as a text file or a zip file. Now, both of these tools right here on this front page are fine, but I would actually recommend not using these two at all. What I would recommend is going into license actions here and go to advanced search. So what this lets us do I can just look up an entire sales order number or an entire host ID, and I can see a list of all of the licenses that are associated with that. So I'm just going to go and search this host ID here. And rather than just it emailing me the license file, I can do a search and I can see what licenses are actually installed to this host ID. We can see that we have quite a bit of stuff. So if I want to retrieve this license file, so if this license just expired, I want to pull a new license file from the website, I can just go over here and click retrieve license. If I want to move this to a different computer, then again, I'm just going to check these two boxes, and I'll click move license. I can then move each of these two licenses to a new host ID. if I would like. And then when I click move license, that will be sent to my email. Finally, I can deinstall these licenses, so I can remove them from this computer or this host ID, but not necessarily install them on a new host ID, at least not yet. That would just be deinstall the license. Additionally, if your license you've noticed is locked on an older version, like it's a Creo 8 license, and you know that you should be on Creo 9 because Business Summary is telling you Creo 9, you can use this Rev Up button. It's going to update your license to the most recent version. I've never had to do this, to be honest. I found that it just works automatically, but I've talked to other people at my company who swear that they have to do this. So just to let you know, if you're running into that issue, then this Rev Up option will put your license on the newest version. So I'm going to go ahead and just retrieve this license. And the license file will be emailed to me shortly. Okay, so just to review, I think that's essentially all I want to show, but I know I showed it all really fast and there's a lot here. To review, this PTC.com website lets you manage your company's licenses. For our purposes, that means learning all of the various information about the licenses, like when they expire, what release they're for, what computer they're currently assigned to, and other information that you can choose to display as well. We can then take actions of getting a new license to our email. We can also move the licenses between computers, install them to a computer, or deinstall them from a computer. The tools that are available to us, so I'm just gonna, once again, go to the main page. Tools that are available to us are, or at least the ones we talked about, are license management, which lets us actually change how, where our licenses are assigned. License reports, which will send an Excel doc to our email. And business summary, which will show that same info that we can show in the Excel doc, but lets us customize it in the web browser, only show the fields that are important to us. And it lets us just easily copy paste into this license management. Finally, with license management, you do have these two quick license management tools that let you quickly license a product to a new computer or quickly move from one host ID to another. Or I'm sorry, or let you retrieve an existing license in the bottom. But I would recommend using advanced search. You can do both of those same actions, but you can search with various different fields and you can see everything associated with a specific host ID or sales order number, which is why I think it's a best practice to just always use this tool. You're going to be given more info, but able to do all the same things. Okay, so jump back to this slideshow. Just going to finish up here really quick. If you'd like to learn more about Creo, we do have various classes. We do actually have a class on what I just covered. It's called Creo Admin, I believe, Introduction to Creo Admin, something like that. The class goes through installing, downloading Creo, the various different types of licenses, managing licenses on the website, managing licenses on computers through FlexNet, setting up start parts, setting up templates for drawings, that sort of stuff. So if you are interested in a class, reach out to either me or our sales team. As a final slide, I have my email included here in case anybody would like to reach out to me with additional questions when we're done. I have the sales email if you're interested in training or licenses, anything else, reach out to them. Additionally, our YouTube channel, I said I would include that. It's actually Boundary Systems, but only one word. There's no space in there. So you'll notice on the screen, visit Boundary Systems on YouTube. If you just Google YouTube, then Boundary Systems, one word, that will get you our channel. Additionally, PDSVISION.us, our website, if you go to support.pdsvision.us, it'll take you to our help desk. There you can submit technical questions to us, and we will reach out to assist. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it to any questions that people have. As I said, I know that I went through a lot fast, so I'll give you all a second to think about it. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into. So I have a question here. Will PTC be moving from network licensing to user-based licensing only in the future? So to answer that question, or to kind of first of all, provide background, with current licensing with PTC, you can have either a locked or a floating license. Locked licenses are locked to one specific machine. Floating licenses are going to be installed to a licensed server that multiple people have access to. There are a few advantages of using a licensed server. Some of them are administrative. So for example, if you have 18 engineers and all of their licenses expire every single year, it's much easier to manage that just as far as one license file on one license server rather than 18 license files on 18 different computers. And additionally, it allows you to share licenses. So maybe you have two people that only use Creo some of the time. You'd only have to buy them one single license, potentially, if you're using a floating system. Now getting back to the question of is PTC moving away from network licensing and going to only user-based licensing? I will say I have not heard anything about that whatsoever. I think that's probably pretty unlikely. I don't see that happening. That being said, it's definitely possible that I just haven't heard about this. I know that our company is going forward with, we do hosting for licensed servers, and we're setting up a license server for our own company. So I would hope that if these were being phased out, then my company would be aware of it and wouldn't be moving so far in that direction. So for that reason, I don't think it's likely at all. Haven't heard anything about it, but maybe it's possible. Maybe so I just got a question. Where is the license file stored on the host? So this is a kind of another equally large topic. So we have the web kind of aspect of managing licenses, getting that license file. And the end result of all the stuff that we just did is going to be you're going to receive a physical license file to your email. So basically, when we go through this process, we assign a license file to a specific host ID. And then PTC is going to email us that license file. And that's kind of where we end on the website of it. Now, as far as actually installing that license file to a specific machine, essentially you need that file itself. So if you were installing it on a specific computer, rather a licensed server, you would email the license file to that user, and that file would show up in their email. At that point, that user has to put their license file somewhere on that computer, so they have to save the attachment from the email. And it doesn't really matter where that file is stored on the host. Honestly, most of the time, I recommend people just put the license file on their desktop. The reason being is that I know that people have access to files on their desktop. Oftentimes you see people putting these in program files, and due to various company firewalls or admin rights, whatever, the user actually doesn't have access to the file and Creo doesn't work. So when you receive the license file on a computer, I actually recommend just putting it right onto the desktop. Now there's another step of actually installing that license file. If you are doing a locked license versus a floating license, that's a little bit of a different process. But long story short, I can just show you something real quick. If you're installing this license to FlexNet or to a licensed server, I'll show you what happens. You're going to download this license file and put it somewhere like your desktop, as I mentioned. But then once you actually install that license file to your server, your Creo is essentially going to create a copy of that file, and it's going to name it license.dat. You can see my license.dat right here. So essentially at that point, this is our license file that Creo is actually reading. And as far as where is this license file stored, this is going to be program files, PTC, and then in my case, that's FlexNet admin license server, because I'm actually hosting a license server on my own PC. So in that case, it's going to be this license.dat. You can still have the original license file saved on your computer. And if you're using a locked license, then that's going to be what Creo is actually reading. But in the case of a server, once you actually get the license file in your email, put it on your PC, and then install it to Creo, it's going to be copied and put in this location. So hopefully that provided some amount of clarity rather than just making this way more complex. But I guess to summarize, the license file is just going to be sent to your email. You can put it wherever you want. When you actually install it to Creo, it's going to be copied and put here, and Creo is then actually going to read this file. But then as far as when you update this, you're going to get again another file. You can save that again to your desktop or wherever. Go through that process again. So yeah, hopefully that helps a bit. I know it's complex like everything in this licensing world. But again, let me know if you have further questions on that. I'm also happy to here, if I pull up this email again. If that explanation did not completely help, I'm happy to, if you email me, jump on a call and walk you through it specific to your own. Okay, I think that is all the questions that I've gotten so far. As I said, if anyone has additional questions, feel free to email me, and I'm happy to help. Thank you everybody so much for attending this week's PDS Vision webinar Wednesday. Hope you all have a great rest of the week.